And we are live. Welcome to the Mastermind, to the Monday Mastermind. And we've got a jam-packed session for you. Hope we haven't kept you waiting. But we start this time every single week. And, we've got some interesting stuff to go through today. And I'm just watching out for my play so that it doesn't start speaking. And then I hear myself talk, and that's so annoying. But we're actually experiencing a couple of problems today. I've had so many things go wrong today, I could not even begin to explain to you. But it's okay. It's one of those days. I tried to do a Facebook Live, a scheduled Facebook Live. I went through some training, but they forgot to mention a fundamental piece of information that was not put inside the training. So I completely fumbled the whole thing, and I tried to go live. I shared like to so many groups out there, and I still messed it up. But it's one of those things, you live, you learn. Katie and Pops are running a bit late today because they are traveling and they're trying to find a Wi-Fi connection. So they might be joining us in a few minutes' time. So we'll wait for them. In the meantime, I am going to introduce our co-panelist here, Mr. Jamie Shaw, and Jamie has had a very interesting week. He's been quite busy of late, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I spent Saturday in the tree stand, and I actually got to shoot it. Actually seen a doe and got to shoot at her. So, you know, it's the fall. I'm a big deer hunter, so I do bow hunting. I do shotgun hunting. So, the weekends are my time. And I don't just go hunting just to be the head hunter, kill the biggest trophy. I care less about that. I do it primarily to get back to nature and just sit there and relax and listen to nature, listen to the woods wake up in the morning. And if I get lucky and one comes across my path and I can put meat in the freezer, then I do. If a big monster comes in front of me, he's going down. But I don't just do it primarily for the monster, which a lot of people do. And that's not the idea of a true hunter. A true hunter puts meat on the table and enjoys the hunt and enjoys nature, and that's what it's all about for me. And then Saturday we also had I sold my I guess you'd call it a muscle car at SS Monte Carlo, and I sold it. The guy only wanted the body because he's going to do something fancy with it, and so I had to pull the motor and transmission out of it, which that was fine with me because that's where all my money's at in that car. And then my daughter blew up her car, so I spent the rest of the day pulling the motor in her car. And that's what's funny about these newer cars. It's her car's a 2007 Ford Fusion. It took almost 8 hours to unplug all the plugs and hoses on all the electrical system, and it took 30 minutes to pull the motor, 30 minutes to put the new motor back in. We're to the point now where it's going to take us another 8 hours to plug all the plugs back in and put all the hoses back on. So that's been my entire weekend. I'm still dressed in camo because I was out surveying today, and I'm not going to ruin my good clothes, so I just threw my camo on and went out surveying today. So I've been outside all weekend, and it's been awesome because I've got to enjoy nature, enjoy the outside, and actually this morning I got to freeze my butt off because it's a little cool here today.
Wow, I gotta say, Jamie, you look like you're ready to go out again. I mean, you guys say a doe, like, is that what you call it, a doe?
Yep, a female is a doe.
Okay, no. I mean, because I'm not a hunter, even though I live in South Africa. I don't hunt. I promise.
Right.
So, oh yeah, that's okay. Cool. So, yeah, because you were absent on Saturday, and we really missed you there. But actually, we missed everybody there because we couldn't have a weekly meeting. But that's okay. So we've got an interesting topic to talk about today. And if you remember, last week we spoke about mental triggers that you can use inside of your business what we want to talk about today is it's really, we're going to be covering some more mental triggers. All right, there's a lot of call for that inside of your business, and there's actually a whole series of them, and we're going to be covering them one little bit at a time. But before I get into that, I just wanted to share something with everybody. And while I'm sharing with us, I'm sure a lot of people will be jumping on, because people are sending out the link to the list. So I want to tell you guys about something that happened to me about 20 years ago. The reason I share this is because I was listening to somebody speak about a subject, and he was saying how the mind, our minds are quite, they take in a lot of junk, they take in a lot of information, and we honestly ourselves, we don't really know the difference between stuff that is real or stuff that is not real, stuff that is true and stuff that is fake. And at the end of the day, we kind of develop our own opinions based on our own environment. And I illustrated that today in a live when I spoke about the fact that 20 years ago, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. And if any of you guys are watching this, maybe you're watching the replay, there is a game called Doom. All right, and Doom is one of those network games. It's a first-person shooter game, and I was there when the first-person shooter came out with Wolfenstein, and then there was this there was Doom 1, and then there was Doom 2, and I absolutely loved this game. Every single week, my friends would come over to my house. We'd hook up all the computers using UTP connections. I don't know if Jamie remembers that. And we'd hook up all the computers and we'd play this game. And basically, you go around shooting all of your friends in a death match. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was a very, very smart person, very, very intelligent. And, we just kind of, messing about saying, oh, let's just play Doom. And, you won't believe how badly you're going to lose, and I'm going to kick your ass, and everything's going to work out fine, and you watch how good I am. And he just looked at me and said the most memorable phrase that hurt my very soul. It absolutely destroyed me as a person for that very moment. I was sunk. I didn't know what to say. And all he said to me was, oh, Dave, I don't really think you're that good. You just know how to play the game. Just thought, I mean, if you think of all of the answers somebody can give you, that was probably, and I felt absolutely humiliated. And I thought, what do you mean? And in my mind, I'm going, no, I'm really good at the game. But as I think about it in retrospect, in going back, I never won any trophies. I wasn't that really good at the game. The only reason I thought I was really great at it was because I was participating with a group of friends. I was having so much fun, and everybody got their shot in, and I somehow convinced myself that I was really good at the game, even though I wasn't. I was I actually was quite bad, but I convinced myself that I was good. It didn't actually occur to me that maybe I was bad, but because I was enjoying it, I convinced myself that I was doing really well. And this is what I mean about our brains can fool us into thinking that something is really important, or that we're really good at something because we pay a lot of attention to the subject. All right, maybe I'll give you an example. Maybe you watch a series and you watch a lot of them, and you think you know a lot about series, but the truth is you probably don't, because you've got another person who knows a lot more than you do, and if you were to give you a test, you'd fail hands down. You might listen to a lot of music and think you're really great at that, but the truth is you don't know everything about music, but in your own mind you think you're great. And it's only because most of your attention is placed on that. Most of your attention is placed on what you're focused on. And this is what I mean, that because we we are distracted by the media, by music, by movies, by TV, by games, by whatever we are doing, our focus becomes that. And we think that that thing is the most important thing in the world. You know, typically if somebody watches news all the time, typically speaking, what the news does is it puts fear into people. It makes people scared, it makes people frightened, and you end up being paranoid. All you have to do is come to South Africa and listen to the news, and you will be paranoid out your mind, all right? And there's a lot of crime in this country, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of people here are scared because there are so many news outlets there telling you how bad the country actually is. But then you get some people that don't watch the news at all, and they're not paranoid because they understand that it isn't like that. If you walk outside, it isn't really that bad. It's got to do with where your focus is. And this is why it is so important to make sure that you surround yourself with people that influence you and have great impact in your life, right? And this is that's what I wanted to share with everybody here. But let's I don't know, maybe Jamie's got something to say about that.
Oh, I don't know if I got anything to add to that, but I do remember Doom and Wolfenstein. I think I still have copies of it around here somewhere because, you know, I played it all the time too. You know, back in the day when all that good stuff was going on, I was hardcore into gaming. That's when I got into computers and stuff. But other than that, you know, I don't think I can really add to what you said, Dave. You know, I just let you carry on with what we're going to talk about tonight.
Holding, man. And, you know, we're talking about mental triggers, and we spoke about 5 mental triggers last week. And just to sum up what they were, into my notebook here, we spoke about 5 mental triggers, and that we covered the fact that it's so important to have stories inside of your business. Stories are the thing that carry your business. All right. I see so many people out there trying to convey a point, or trying to convey like the 5 keys to success, or the 3 keys to success, or the 3 keys to getting leads. And all they're doing is they're kind of just reading off a bullet point. And there is no story. And these people who are trying to put out content, which is good, content is great, but if you don't wrap it around a story, you're not really grabbing somebody's attention. And that's why it's so important that whenever you're trying to convey something like mindset and what I've just told you, I did it through a story, to something to grab your attention. The second trigger we spoke about is that you've got to have series and steps inside of your business. So you've got to have a something that somebody can say, okay, we've done step 1. Now we're going to do a 5-part series so you can be a part of that. And people love that type of thing. And if you can put that inside of your business, it's definitely a way to grab people's attention. The other thing we spoke about was community. So if you have a community inside of your business, that is something that people want. They want to be a part of having a great community to be around. If they're not around a community, they don't feel like they're part of something. You need to absolutely have that. And then the 4th thing we spoke about was social proof. So the fact is that if a lot of people are doing something in a certain area, people gravitate towards that. And this is the way the human condition is. In a lot of respects, we are like sheep. We go towards what the big distraction is about. And this is exactly what I was talking to you about. And you'll find that as you become a leader in your own business, that you'll notice these things, and you start thinking about things in your own mind and using your own filter. And then, of course, the other one was scarcity. So the fact is that if you have something that a lot of people don't, that's something that people want, all right? If less of something, somebody wants that more than ever. The latest album comes up and you want it immediately because you're going to be that person who has that album. That is what people want. So if you can incorporate that into your business, that's certainly going to help you. All right. So we're going to be talking about 5 additional triggers that you can use inside of your business. And so I'm going to talk about the first one here, and then perhaps Jamie can add a little bit to that. And this is the trigger of authority. Now, if I say authority and say, can you see that being a trigger? You might say, yes, I can see that being a trigger because, you know, people gravitate towards authority. But here's the thing. How are you going to use authority in your business? What's the thing that's going to show that you have authority inside of your business? And if somebody wants to make a comment about that, I'll be very interested to what somebody has to say. What is the thing that makes you an authority? Is it, I mean, what do you think it is? Let's see if somebody to say here. If you guys are watching, and I see that Mary Beth is on, I see that Robert is on, what do you guys think makes you an authority on something? Knowledge of the subject, very good. Okay, that's actually very close. The thing that makes you an authority is if you are providing good content. If you are providing good content inside of your business, you will instantly be seen as somebody who knows about that subject. All right, so that is what good authority does for you. There's a subject I talk about in my last video called pacing and leading. All right, so pacing and leading is when you have 2 people that are talking to each other, right? And you're kind of using the same gestures and you're kind of using the same movement and the same language, and you carry on doing this, and subconsciously the other person will actually you will start to mimic them, and then they will start to mimic you. And then you will start doing something called leading, when you'll actually do something else, like you'll make big gestures, and you'll find that that person will do exactly the same thing. And I've done this with many people when I'm talking to them. I've spoken to a calm person before who doesn't use gestures, and I'm kind of, you know, mimicking their movements, and then I'll get bigger and get bigger. And by the end of the conversation, they are flailing their arms about like a crazy person, because they want to get on the same plane as I am. And that's called pacing and leading. Now, that's something that I've just taught you now. That's a bit of authority. And so when people see me talking about that subject, they see me as somebody, gee, you know, Dave actually knows about the psychology stuff. So they see me as somebody who presents a form of authority. And this is why I always encourage people to understand fully what they are doing before they present it. Don't go and present something half-hearted and you don't actually know what you're talking about. This is why whenever I am trying to convey a concept, I will speak to Jamie about it, or I'll speak to Katie about it, or Pops, or somebody, or some of my friends. I will speak to somebody and say, does this make sense? And if it does make sense, I'll explain it more. And that way, when I get to my presentation and I can present something of good content, I'm seen as somebody who has authority on the subject. Jamie, can you think of anybody?
Yeah, I can think of something. I mean, you hear a lot of the top marketers say, find one strategy and master it. That's the fastest way to become an instant authority. If you take one strategy and master it, say you want to be a Facebook master, learn everything you can learn about Facebook, Facebook paid ads, Facebook Live, posting on Facebook, Facebook fan pages, learn everything you can about Facebook. And when you've mastered it and, you know, you get leads from it because you've mastered it and you're creating content on it, you create content on what you're mastering, Facebook, then you become an authority. People start recognizing you because you're getting results. You know what you're talking about, and you're delivering good content on it. So people see you as an authority. When you go at it half-heartedly, people recognize that right away, that you're spewing bullcrap, you know, and notice right away that you don't know what you're talking about. So, and you'll hear many big leaders tell you, I've heard Pat say it a million times. I've heard Dave say it a million times. Master one system.
Absolutely. And I got to say something on this subject quickly. And a lot of people in here might know the phrase posturing. All right. Now, let me just give you a little bit of a tip here about body language and how you can actually convey that you don't know what you're talking about. Even if you do, by your body language. And I learned this this week, and I thought, man, that is so true. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, man, I mean, so here's something, all right? I'm going to exaggerate it a bit, all right? And I've done this. I've actually done this on my very first videos. If you go back and look at my videos, what I did, this is how I spoke. You want to hear? This is how it went. Okay, guys, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you, this is so important. You need to know. You need to know this. It's going to change your life. When you put your head forward and you're trying to convey something, it doesn't come off as somebody who knows they're talking about. It actually comes off as a person who's trying to force something on somebody else, and that is bad posturing. That's why when you want to speak about something with authority and you know what you're talking about, put your head back. Speak with authority. Don't put your head forward. All right? That was something I learned. The other thing I learned was if you got your shoulders hunched over, you got your shoulders hunched over and you're trying to talk about something, and now you're not really sure, and that comes off as somebody who's not really confident. All right? You want to present confidence and authority. All right? And you're going to grab people's attention if you put your shoulders back and you speak as somebody, speak like this. Don't make yourself a robot. Don't speak like a R2D2, but make yourself respectful, right? And just think about it. The way you do it is think about something amazing that happened in your life. Your posture immediately changes. All right, so we don't want to get too much into that, but that's the first trigger, all right? Authority, all right? Make sure that you're presenting content that's good, all right? Good content gives you great authority. The second trigger is anticipation. And we all know this, all right, anticipation. And the biggest example I can think of is, and maybe Jamie can think of it before I can, what's the biggest example you can think of anticipation?
I don't know. I'm kind of stumped on this one.
All right, so that's fine. Movie trailers. Sometimes movies will not even come out months. They'll come out months later, and there's a small teaser, and you have this anticipation of something that's going to happen, and it's going to be great because you've seen the trailer. Another one they do is when you guys are apparently having the Super Bowl, there's like a 2-week period before you have the Super Bowl or something. I don't know much about American football, but there's always teasers, things that build up to it. And if you can put that into your marketing, give people the sense of anticipation, it's amazing. One of the things I did when I first got online was I said to a lot of friends that I was going to eat the hottest pepper in the world. The hottest pepper in the world. I was going to do it. So I bought the seeds. I told everyone about it. I bought the seeds. I planted the seeds. I grew the plants. I waited like a year for them to blossom, and I got this thing out. I sat down with a group of friends. Somebody video camera, and you can go and look it up. Right now, I'm giving you anticipation, right? I'm giving you anticipation of something I did. Because now you're thinking, gee, I'd like to go and see that. And I ate the hottest pepper. I chew it for 30 seconds, and then I swallow. And now for the next 5 minutes, I'm supposed to endure the pain. I'm supposed to endure the pain. And I told people about this. I said I was going to do it, and so many people wanted to see it. There's a big sense of anticipation with that. If you can put that in your marketing, that is amazing. All right. And now, Jamie, you want to say something?
Yeah, And that goes for email too. You know, if you're on Dave's email list and you get his email, when you get started in the email, he kind of draws you in, and then you're anticipating what he's talking about, and then the time you get to the end, you're like, oh wow, that makes sense. And many great marketers are that way. You know, you start reading their copy, and you're drawn into it because the anticipation they give you, and that's kind of what he's talking about. And the Super Bowl ads are the same way. It's kind of a preview of what's happening, and a lot of marketers run like a 4-part video series to get you on their pre-launch. You know, we've seen that quite a few times. You know, video 1 will lay out some of the strategies, but if you really want the rest of the strategies, you got to get video 2, video 3, and all the good strategies are in video 4. So you're anticipating all the results by sitting there hanging out waiting for them, and you can't wait till the next day for the next video to come out. So
that's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly the point. And we know a good email marketer, Tony Rush, right? I subscribe to Tony all the time, and he sent out this amazing email. And he describes this moment where he says, okay, so I'm at my house. There's a long driveway. My window's out there. I can see everybody out there. And I'm working on my computer. And you come running up to my door and you knock on the door and you say, Tony, what is the actual secret to success online? How can I actually go immediately? Well, this is exactly what you need to do. And there's a big link that says, watch this video. It's anticipation. All right, anticipation. People are drawn to that like a moth to a flame. It absolutely changes the dynamic of your business. And this is what we do. This is what we do when we create our steps in our series. When everything is wrapped up in this. These are all triggers that you can use inside of your business. When you tell somebody that something amazing is about to happen, or you will not believe, it absolutely gets people drawn in closer. So that's number 3. All right. Now, the 4th one is an interesting trigger, and this is called the common enemy.
Wait a minute, Dave. You said that was number 5. That's number 3.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. My handwriting is like child hieroglyphics. Thank you. Thank you for following. I can't even read my own handwriting. Anyway, yeah. So, number 3, the common enemy. Now, I want to say that if you have a story you want to tell, all right, if you want to have, so I'll tell you part of my story, something that I put inside of my story that everybody can identify with, that everybody goes, yes, oh man, that's like a common thing that I absolutely hate, right? We have a common enemy. So inside of my story, I say something like this. I say, you know, there's a big part of my life where I wouldn't answer my phone. I absolutely would not answer the phone. I'd screen the phone calls and I would not answer them because I knew if I did, I would have to speak to this person and say no because I don't have any money. Or here's another one. I get bills in the mail, bills. I get these bills of these payments I'm going to make, and everyone's saying, you know, final notice. Everybody hates that. You speak about the IRS. You speak about lawyers. You speak about things that people absolutely hate. They're going to absolutely jump on board with you and say, that's exactly what I'm feeling. And have you ever noticed when you're really in a good story and you really start to agree, you start to nod with a person without even realizing it? Have you had that, Jamie, when you're nodding along with a story and you're going, man, I totally get that.
Yeah, I've experienced that a lot. You know, and another good example of common enemy is we all go through the same challenges when we start a home business. You know, we all go through the struggle. We all go through the fear of talking to people. We all go through the overcoming the fear of doing video, talking to people, whatever it is. You know, and we all go through the challenges of, oh, we're not enough, we don't provide enough value, stuff like that. You know, we all go through the same struggle, and it's part of the marketing system and part of the plan. You have to have the common enemy with each other. You have to face your fears. You have to face your struggles, and you have to find the inner you to overcome these obstacles, because if you don't do, if you just quit, then nothing's going to change. If you face these things head on, then the common enemy goes away. You start to see success, you start to make sales, you start to make friends in the industry, you start to make business associates, and everything changes. But it's up to you to make that change.
That's it, man. The one thing that I will say is that when I am in the middle of present or hearing somebody speak, and they are battling with something, I get in there and I'm saying, yeah, man, that's exactly what I go through. Because ultimately, we all think that our life is the most unique thing ever, and nobody else is going through what we're going through. And we all are desiring stuff like, I wish I could be in a community of people that want to help me. And then you say, we have a community. Oh my goodness. That's the kind of like the opposite of having a common enemy. Or maybe the common enemy is that you around people that put you down all the time. And you really just want to be around people who want to uplift you. And this is something that most people can identify with. Sorry, I've got a message on my phone, and I'm just wondering if it might be urgent. Just give me a second. Jamie, you want to take it for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Tell them about what's happening on Thursday, bro.
And some of the stuff you find in common enemy, you can overcome by being a part of a community. And that was, the part of the number 3 of the first 5 social triggers or emotional triggers is being a part of the community. And, a lot of these triggers go hand in hand. Thursday, Dave told me to talk about Thursday a little bit. Thursday, on my show, Thursday, Wonder Wet and I are going to be talking about the 6 Ghosts of Fear, which comes out of Think and Grow Rich, chapter 15. So if you guys come and hang out, and you want to know about the 6 Ghosts of Fear and what they are, we're going to cover all that step by step, and how to, get yourself through overcoming the fear. So
just carry on talking for a sec. I'll be back now, Jamie.
All right. And if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, you probably need to read it. I read it once, or I read it twice actually, and I've started reading it for the 3rd time, and I can't believe how much stuff that I've missed the first 2 times I've read it, and I just kind of stumbled across this 6 Ghosts of Fears, and it's like, wow. I mean, I heard an audio on it, so I went and read just that chapter, and I'm like, man, I missed that completely the first couple of times I read the book. So, it's not just read the book and put it on the shelf and that's the end of it. You got to go back, and study it. You got to become become a product of the product. Well, reading is a product, becoming a product of the product by doing it multiple times. It's like audios, I have a 3-hour round trip to work every day. So I listen to audios all the time, and I've done it since 2013. And it's not, I don't listen to one audio and that's it. I may listen to the same audio for 2 weeks in a row to get it to sink in. And it's not just to sink in. I hear a different part of it every time, because Dave talked about this in the beginning. There's so much stuff that goes through our mind. Sometimes everything doesn't register when you listen to it the first time, the second time, or maybe even the 3rd time. The more you do the repetitive motion of listening to it over and over again, you start to pick up things that you didn't hear before.
And that is so true. If we just digress on that for a second, I got to say that the one thing that we are all guilty of, including me, is this thing of assumption. We assume so many things in our own mind because of the way we think. We come to our own conclusions. And it absolutely doesn't help you. I can't tell you how many people I've actually gone through step by step to tell them exactly what to do. And they go over it so quickly, and then they come back to me and say, I don't understand. And if only they took the time to go back over that material, because the stuff is in the training, the stuff is in the material. Jamie, he was just saying, he's read Think and Grow Rich before, but now he's reading it again saying, yeah, I don't know how I missed all this stuff. And, the truth is that we don't take it in. We don't absorb it. We sit on and this is what I mean about the fact that our brains think that we've done all the work, and we don't really know that we have, because we come to our own conclusions and we don't reach them properly. We are not following what people are saying. Do you know how, like, I mean, I've been in the marketing industry a while, and I've been part of a system. So I know about the ins and outs of it. But because my brain I've thought to myself, gee, I've done this so well, I know exactly how to do it. When I get into a new system, I assume so many things that I think I can skip stuff. And you can't skip stuff, because at the end of the day, when I call up my mentor and I say, I can't get this done, and he says, oh, it's in the top right-hand corner, didn't you see it? And I feel like an absolute idiot. And it's because we don't go over the material. There is so much stuff inside of your system, we have this MyLead System Pro that has so much training that people don't even bother to go through. They don't even bother to go through it. And then they moan or complain to their upline saying, you haven't taught me correctly. It's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility. Stop assuming and start taking in the information properly. But we digress. Okay, so let's get on to point.
I want to add one thing, Dave.
Sure.
Saturday and Sunday, are basically my days off from my job, which I just said Saturday I was in a deer stand, Sunday morning I was in a deer stand. Okay, well, we're in a deer stand at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sunrise isn't until like 5 minutes till 7 right now, until the time changeover. You know what I was doing in my deer stand in that total darkness where I couldn't see any deer to shoot them? Because if you've ever been bow hunting, you can't see until, they say you can shoot a half hour before, after sunrise. But who can see anything in the darkness of the woods a half hour before sunrise? These come out of my coat pocket, my headphones. Guess what else I got with me hunting? My phone, and it's got audio on it, and I'm listening to the audio sitting in a deer stand waiting for the sun to come up. So I'm utilizing my time no matter where I'm at, and you can be utilizing your time too when you go on a walk, go on a jog. I wouldn't advise taking your phone in the shower with you. It might not work when you get done, but you can always put it on a portable speaker and stick it in the bathroom with you while you're in the shower and listen to it in there. There's always chances to improve your mind. And if you don't improve your mind, you're going to be stuck where you're at. 5 years from now, you're going to be stuck in the same place you were 5 years ago.
Convincing yourself that you'll be convincing yourself that there was nothing you could have done to change your circumstance. We are giving you a full opportunity here to actually say, you know what, we have a system that actually does work. It teaches you everything you need to know about marketing. And if you don't take advantage of that, if you're still doing the same thing every day, if you're still like looking at different things and you're not actually getting into something and getting your hands dirty, you can't expect to change. You can't expect to grow. You've got to do something different. All right. You cannot expect to do the same thing over and over again and expect to get a different result. That's insanity. And I think it's the actual definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It doesn't work. You run into a wall 500 times, 501 times, you're still going to run into that same wall. Stop running into the wall and use a bulldozer. Anyway, so I digress. And we're going on to the fourth trigger. The fourth trigger. And this is a very simple one that a lot of people struggle with, because they think, well, I'm just getting started. How can I actually use this as proof? And the trigger is proof. If you inside of your business and you want to give people, if you want to reach their mental trigger and reach out to them, the way you can do it is by talking about people who have reached success. And I always say to people who are in my team, if you are struggling for some form of social, or not social proof, some form of proof, you can use my story. Talk about a guy in South Africa from a third world country who was able to become financially independent. That is proof. And if you can reach out to me and say, hey, Dave, I'm looking for a testimonial, or I'm looking for something that I can use, or a story of yours, can you give it to me? You know, if I have the time, I'll do it for you. This is what, you know, you can reach out to Jamie, you can reach out to Dr. Wade, you can reach out to Shamala, you can reach out to Mary Beth, all of these wonderful people who are watching right now and who are listening to us. Proof is amazing. It's absolutely amazing what you can do if you can show somebody that somebody else has got it. People look at me and say, you know, I'm looking at myself going, I live in South Africa. How can I possibly make an impact? Or I could say, I live in South Africa. I can possibly make an impact. Why? Because there are people living in America who haven't achieved the amount of success I have. And I live in a country where there is so much force against me, but I am still able to make this work. Because I just put in the work. I just put in the work. And that's amazing proof that you can grab onto. Look at Pat Patterson, how that guy, his police career was ended. He had nothing. Then he's watching a video of two guys, Dave and Dave, running around as crazy people, and he says, man, I want to earn what they're earning. And he turned his life around from complete disaster. And that's amazing proof you can talk about and say, if this guy can do it, so can I. Put that into your stories. Don't think that, you know, you have to use yourself all the time. Because at the end of the day, people are not interested in bullet points. They're not interested actually in the 1, 2, 3. They're interested in somebody else that they can identify with. That's what it boils down to. People don't buy houses because of technical reasons. They don't buy houses because it's the right place to be. They buy houses based on emotion. They buy cars based on emotion. You know, very rarely will people buy because of actual technical information. Think about this for a second. Think about this little concept for a second. Imagine if everybody was 100% logical. How many parties in America do you think you'd have? Republican, Democrat. Most people would be on one party if people were logical. If people actually just use logic. But you've got these two parties, right? A lot of it just based on opinion. But if everybody thought the same, everybody would agree. People hardly make decisions based on logic. Most of your decisions are based on emotion. Most of them are. I don't know, Jamie, what do you think? I mean, can you think of any example? I mean, look at your phone, right? Your phone.
Right.
I got a smartphone, a Note 4. It's a really fancy phone. What do I use it for? Texting, making a call, and looking up on my Facebook. That's all I need it for. Do I need this fancy phone?
No, but if you really got in a pinch and your computer went down, you could run your whole business from your phone, from your smartphone.
Yes, well, I'm saying that I'm saying when I buy a phone, I'm thinking that's a great phone to buy. But
right.
I'm trying to say that logically speaking, if you just needed a phone for a phone, you just buy a phone to make a call and a text.
Right.
Most people buy toys that they don't even like. They don't use 90% of the stuff that's inside of the toy. I mean, you in computers, you need to know the technical stuff. But most people who buy stuff, including myself, buy things on emotion. This is what we're saying, that if you want to grab people into your world, you need to get them through stories. You need to get them through anticipation. You need to get them through your common enemy. You need to get them through proof. You need to get them through social proof. You need to get them through community. You don't get them through bullet points. If you want to sell a plane, if you want to sell an airplane, like you guys call it, you say airplane, we say aeroplane. You don't sell an airplane and you say it's got so many nuts and bolts and it's got this much engine room and it's got this and it's got that. You say, you buy a plane, you got freedom. You buy a plane, you can go anywhere in the world in a pinch. You can just go and be there. You sell on the benefits. You don't sell on the actual, you want to sell a car. Most women, I'm not generalizing here, but I'm saying most women who are nurturing in that, you want to sell them a car, get them to sit inside the car. Get them to sit inside the car. Don't go and tell them how fast the car goes from 0 to 100. Don't tell them, the paint was imported from Germany and it's, that's not how you sell things. You sell based on emotion. Does that make sense, Jamie?
Oh yeah, and that follows attraction marketing. When you're looking to buy a new car or something, you're attracted to a certain make and model. You do all the research you can on that make and model, that type of car, because you're attracted to that car. And that's where the emotion comes in, because you're shopping for, you're specified what you want, what you're looking for, and you're doing research on it, and you're attracted to that type of car, and you will go nuts over any type of car. And what's funny is your subconscious mind starts seeing all makes and models of that car when you drive down the road. I'm like, I wanted to buy a new truck. Okay, so I bought a new truck. As soon as I bought that new truck, I seen the exact same color truck all over the place. And it's amazing. Your mind does that to you. And I want to bring up something on proof. Proof. If you get your first lead, show proof that you got your first lead. And I know that's more along the lines of social proof, but we always get the question, well, does this work? Well, yeah, I'm getting 4 or 5 leads a day. It does work. Shamela, you've seen her in our chat, she's one that took the first year of being in our workshop and studied what we were doing, took our advice, took notes, and now she's doing it. Now she's killing it. She just ranked advanced in her other business just by taking some of the advice and stuff that Dave and I had given her, Katie had given her, Pops had given her, and she's going out there and taking action and doing it and getting all kinds of proof that, because she's becoming an authority in her business. And you'll hear me on this show, you'll hear me on my show, you'll hear, if you come to our workshop, you'll hear me in the workshop. I always edify Pat, I always edify Dave, and I always edify Katie. Why? Because they gave me advice. It was my choice to take the advice or not. I took Pat's advice and started doing video. I took Dave and Katie's advice and started doing different things in my business. And I have proof that I can show. I've got testimonials that are, I've got 2 new ones from Dave and Katie that I got to put on my website. And I think I'm gonna put them on my new website. That way because they're new and fresh. So my new website's new and fresh. So that's my proof, that I work hard, I provide value and stuff like that. And, if Shamela, if you're listening, you need a testimonial from me and Dave, just holler, girl, we'll give you one.
That's true. And so don't underestimate. Please notice that these triggers are mental triggers and not technical know-hows on how to do stuff. Most successful people are excited about. They're not really excited about the tools per se. They're excited about what the tools can do for them. I remember when I first got started, the thing that and I was thinking all wrong about this. I wanted to get the perfect website. I wanted to get a website just like this person. So I was hunting for that particular thing all the time. But now that my mind is thinking correctly, I understand that it's just a case of getting your content out there. Don't worry about the tiny little things. They'll work out. All right, so now we come to number 5. And this is a very, very interesting trigger. And this is the trigger of controversy. Now, I'm not talking about being negative in your business, all right? So forget that, all right? That's the last thing I would suggest. What I am talking about is that, and here's a way to illustrate this. I was listening to one of Tony Robbins. I bought one of his courses years ago, and I recently started listening to some of his audios. And there's a story he tells of a guy that was involved in a very traumatic motorcycle accident. It absolutely destroyed his life. All right, his whole face was wiped off. He couldn't walk anymore. He had to have reconstructive surgery. The guy's wife left him. So many things went wrong in his life, and this person was able to turn his life around. Now, I've left out a lot of the details, but Tony goes through this story and mentions all the details of what happened in this accident, this tragedy, this controversy, this car crash. And people start listening. They start tuning up and going, what is that? People are attracted to that. Why do you think people are attracted to Pat's story? Because it's so violent. It's unbelievable what he went through. It absolutely is horrific. Controversy, not just controversy, but things that involve a lot of excitement and catastrophe, and things like that pull people into your story. They pull people into the story you're trying to tell. If you can pull that into your business and start talking about that, I'm telling you now, you're going to grab people's attention, right? And Ray Higdon does this when he talks about the fact that he was bankrupt, when he talked about the fact that people were knocking on his doors. This is stuff that made him feel uneasy. This was big controversy in his life. When he speaks about that, he grabs people's attention because they identify with it. And it's a common enemy. It's the same sort of thing. So that's an amazing, amazing trigger you can use. And those are the 5 triggers. Now, if anybody's got any questions they want to ask, or perhaps Jenny wants to add something, please do. Now's the time. We've got a few minutes left.
Yeah, I got a little story I can tell, and it's more of self-controversy. It's not me. It's my oldest son. Because we all experience controversy within ourselves. My oldest son, he started playing 7th grade football, and he was like 5 foot, 120 pounds, and they put him at running back. And the boys were a lot bigger than him, and he'd come home all upset. I said, "Dad, I can't do this. I'm too little." I said, I told him, I said, "Son, it doesn't matter how big you are. When it comes to football, it matters how much heart you play with. If you play with 150% heart, then nobody can stop you." And then after that moment in time, going to watch him play every week, you could tell he played with 150% heart, because when he graduated high school, he was 5'3", 150 pounds, and he was the first 1,000-yard rusher we'd had at this high school for 10 years, and he finished his senior year, with 1,500 yards rushing, because he played with heart. The controversy was he didn't think he was big enough, and I reassured him that all it takes is heart. We all know that football, or I think what you call it, rugby over there, right? It doesn't matter how big you are. I've seen, like I said, my son was 5'3", 150 pounds when I graduated high school. I've seen him take a guy Dave's size. Dave's like 6'2", 280, Dave? How big are you? 280 pounds? I've seen him take a guy your size and run right over the top of him because he played with heart. And I know it's kind of a corny story, but it's a story in my past that I think is a big stepping stone, a big learning lesson of how to overcome your self-controversy.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And the more details you can put inside of that, people are they're absolutely mesmerized by that type of the hero story, because that is a hero story, right? It's a hero story. There's a great deal of battle There's a lot of things you have to overcome, and you come in there as a hero and you explain what he needs to do, and it's all about heart, and he understands the whole idea about what it means to actually play, and you play with all the heart you got, and you can make an impact. That's an amazing thing that you can bring to people. And I'm not advocating that you must now go ahead and start controversy with people, even though controversy does bring attention. I'm saying that the idea of bringing controversy in the sense of events that have happened that have changed your life, events that have happened that have absolutely changed the way that you behave. I'll tell you a story right now, a true story. A lot of people know me as somebody that I don't drink. I don't like going out to drink. I don't like getting drunk. It's a very big no-no in my life, especially if I'm going to be anywhere near a vehicle. Especially if I'm going to be anywhere near a vehicle, I am not even. It's not even something I can think about. And I'll tell you what happened to me. And it was roughly about maybe 18, 17 years ago. A lot of people don't know this about me. I was arrested. I was quite young. I was over 18. But I was arrested for reckless and negligent driving. And what had happened was I'd come out of a gas station. I had spun my wheels, and somebody was behind me and they started following me. And I thought, what is going on here? Because nobody ever follows me. I've never had that trouble with the law or anything. It's not an issue. So I thought, let me turn up here and I'll get rid of them, because maybe they're trying to get past me. So as I turned right, they carried on following me. And I thought, well, maybe they want to get on the highway, because the highway was near. And I thought, let me go up this one way. So I went up this way because I thought they were in a hurry. And as I turned up the road, I was going down a one-way down. So I was breaking the law. And I got up to the top and I stopped. And as I stopped, about 3 policemen it was like something out of a movie. They just surrounded me, got out of the car with it, and said, get out of the car. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? I didn't know what was happening. The cop comes up to me and says, have you been drinking? I'm like, no. Have you had any medication? And I remember saying to him, well, I had tick bug fever about a week ago, but I think that's over and done. I was being genuine with the guy. I wasn't trying to make up anything. And he got a breathalyzer. He put it in my face and he said, blow. And I started to blow. And I've never blown on a breathalyzer in my entire life before. And I'm blowing and he goes, no, blow. Like really violent type of action. And I blew in this thing and read nothing. He put me in the van, took me to the police station, and they arrested me. And it wasn't my fault. It was a complete misunderstanding. But because the police have a quota and they have to bring in so many people every month, I just fit the bill and I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I had to go to court. I had to stand in front of a judge, and the guy in front of me was a guy that had been drinking and driving. And I looked in front of me, and I was about to go up next, but this guy got the whole 9 yards. This judge just laid it out to him, gave him a fine, put him in prison, everything. And at that moment, I said to myself, I will never go near alcohol again, especially when I'm near. I will never, not if I'm in, I will not do it. And I made that decision in my life. It was that moment that changed me. Now that's controversy. That's a story that grabs people's attention. That gets people going. And that's how you put that stuff into your business when people have to make huge decisions. All right, when people have to see things clearly, when you can bring controversy into your story, it grabs people's attention. And now you know the reason I won't even, if I'm driving anywhere, I don't even come anywhere near with me with alcohol. It just won't happen. I'm adamant about that. So that's just an example of what controversy can do. And I see that we're at the top of the hour. I hope that's been helpful for everybody. Any questions anybody had? Anybody? Bueller.
I don't see any questions in the chat. So.
Cool. All right. So I know there's a slight delay. So nobody has any questions. That's good. But we will see you same time next week. And sorry, but unfortunately, Katie and Pops couldn't jump on because they couldn't get a connection, and that's understandable. They're traveling. That's fine. That's fine. We'll see them again next week. But you guys have a fantastic time, and thank you, Jamie, for being on here with us. Appreciate you, man. And guys, please take to heart what we said today. If you want to become authority, present good content, talk about anticipation, talk about the common enemy, get proof, and use controversy inside of your stories to help get people jammed into what you have to say. And look, don't really concentrate too much on technique. You don't really have to worry about technique. You just need to be passionate about it. And if you've gone on the Dale Carnegie course on public speaking, there's hardly anything there on technique. They talk about the fact that if you're passionate about something, that's what people are drawn to, is when you're passionate about something. All right. So with that being said, we're going to say goodbye. You have an amazing week, and we'll see you same time next week. Don't forget Jamie's hangout on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's going to be talking about, what's the title again?
The Sixth Ghost of Fear.
Sixth Ghost of Fear. And Maria and Sonia have their hangout tomorrow at, I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget Wisdom Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Pat Patterson. You don't want to miss that. That's an amazing show. And we will see you then. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.